attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and whenever we last left off, we had Izuku Midoriya. He has come back to Earth, and he sees the chaos and devastation. Truly, this is the end times. However, humanity has not gone out quietly. They have been fighting. They have been defending, holding the line. And this is it. They currently have a mission. They believe that it is possible to close the portal to hell. But it's a bit iffy. Now, the Doomslayer and the Ghost Rider, they will not be accompanying Midoriya. They need to return to the battlefield. They need to make sure that they can make sure that line doesn't get crossed. Make sure that they can take out their own demons and keep defending. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, him and a few others are talking. A lot of people are asking Midoriya if he believes that he is ready for this mission. Is he ready? Is he ready? Midoriya himself does not know. But he doesn't really care. He is aware of exactly how much trouble his body might be in if he goes back there. But then there's Mei. Mei simply just begins to inform him that the team he is going with consists of Bakugo, herself, and Ibara and Momo. Midoriya actually began to ask a question. What about the rest of Class 1A? And, well, Mei does not really have an answer to that question, simply informing him that they are either somewhere in the city, out in the battlefield, or dead. Everyone scattered after everything went to hell. After the city was built, you really stopped seeing a lot of other people. In fact, you're lucky if you see someone you recognize. So, this is just it. This is what he knows. UA itself, the most prestigious school in his city, in Japan, from what he knows, or at least remembers. Where it is now is in the heart of all that chaos, left in ruins. A life he wishes that he could have been a part of. But that doesn't matter right now. Right now, everyone, they gear up. And somebody actually does step forwards in one of these suits. Now, these suits, once again, if I do need to go over it, they run off of your soul. The person does not reveal their face. However, well, it is quite easy to understand. Simply just informing him that they are going to be heading in that direction, and they should hurry. Now, with that, it is asked if he can fly. Midoriya just shakes his head no. The man simply just walking away, coming back and arriving to give Midoriya a jetpack, informing him that now he can. And they do actually leave. The former students of UA, or where they are now, part of the resistance, part of the Holy War, they head directly back towards the portal. And they do arrive. As soon as they do, people do begin to feel that presence and that feeling. It's eerie and it's unsettling. You have, well, someone beginning to talk, asking Midori if it is really as bad down there as he said, or as people have said. And Midoriya simply just explains, it's worse. Whenever you're down there, time does not add up. Something shifts in the air. You feel like you're breathing sulfur. And simply just trying to focus on one thing is impossible. Take it as someone is overriding all of your senses, while they're also trying to do these things, do these things, and do these things. Basically seeing that it's like a form of mental overload. And everyone begins to walk through. As soon as they pass through this hole in the ground, it seems like the gravity shifts differently. They may have jumped down into it, but as soon as they jumped down, they lurched forwards and hit the ground. It didn't make sense. However, nothing does anymore. And Midori informed them, whatever they do, stick together, and make sure not to get separated. If they do get separated, just try to retrace your steps. Just directly step backwards. It does not matter. Now, with that being said, they begin to make their way throughout the area. And watch. The fiery hellscape that everyone sort of pictured does not exist. It's more or less they're in a giant room, a giant chamber. And they begin to walk. Now, eventually they did start to encounter demons. As soon as they did, Midoriya, he himself did one thing. He immediately just rushed forwards and grabbed the demon by the throat. Beginning to squeeze, and as they drew back their weapon, you do have Ibarra, who, using a whip, she threw it outwards and immediately was able to grab the man's hand before pulling it. The holy metal and blades beginning to form as they rip apart and cut the man's hand off. And Midori himself turns around to see exactly what type of weapon that is. He thought that was a simple whip. Moving parts. Awesome. Anyways, Midoriya says, turning back around. Now, you're going to tell me, do you know any way to close the portal? You aren't supposed to be chained up. Well, I'm not anymore. Now listen to me. Mr. Something has pissed me off quite a lot. And I'll tell you this. I won't eat your soul if you tell me how to close the portal. What? You can't do that. Yes, I can. This is a war. I'm not on either side. Really, you could say. Yes, I do work and fight with resistance, but that is to protect the world that I live in. Protect how things were. That's gone now. So tell me. Give me one good reason. Any excuse. Anyone that I can find reasonable, I'll let you go. The man trying to burst off into different things. This reason, that reason, that reason. Nothing Midoriya wants to hear. And everyone simply just thinks that Midoriya, he's just going to kill the guy. However, Midoriya does one thing. Bring his hand up, he simply just follows his guardian angel's instructions. Placing his middle finger directly by the man's mouth, and then wrapping his hands, and then putting his thumb directly between the person's eyes. And she begins to do the rest. As Midoriya, the angel, they begin to pull, pulling all the essence throughout the man's body into one direction. And the man's soul popping right out of his mouth, as his body loses a lot of color in his eyes, and all emotion, dropping down to the ground as Midoriya holds up a red orb. Simply just looking at it. A demon soul. So, you're telling me I need to eat these things to get stronger? I can't do something else? Well, eating them is the most effective. But just remember my warning. Once you do this, there is no going back. Now, Midori just stares at it for a second, and everyone else is looking at him. Bakugo beginning to pose questions while Momo is asking what's going on. And you do have Mei, who asks Midori exactly what is he going to do. Now, Midoriya doesn't know really what to say. He goes on stating that this is how he can get stronger. Take on the essence of the demons. Become something new. Something not human, angel, or demon. Something entirely different. Once he does this, he believes that he can win. Take down Mr. Something and then, well, figure out what to do there. Huh. You really are a dunce, aren't you? What are you talking about? Mr. Something is one of our problems, yes. In fact, he's the major problem over here. However, we're simply just trying to stop the army from coming through. Once we do that, then we either kill the remaining demons on Earth or make sure that portal does not get opened again. So, you'll be perfectly fine doing what you're going to do. Mei trying to argue against it. This is wrong, and Midoriya should put the soul down. However, Ibara, she herself does actually surprise everyone, stating that Midoriya should eat it. These demonic creatures and, well, monsters themselves are not human. They do not show remorse. They are not people. They simply just keep coming back every time you kill them. If this means that one of the monsters stays dead, then he should eat it. Everyone, shocked to hear this. And Midoriya still does look at it. And think. Now, he then slowly just begins to bring it up to his mouth. And, well, he can't do it. He decides to simply, well, give the soul to the guy in the armor. He has a theory, right? Your armor runs on souls, correct? Yeah. What about it? Well, the souls your suit are running on, they're human. So, throw a demon into the mix. Do you think it would be stronger? Well, that's actually a very good question. So, what you're saying is, you're going to... Interesting. Now, the guy goes to reach his hand up to grab this thing. Midoriya, he just does one thing. He grabs it and pushes it directly into the centerpiece on his chest. His armor going from a, well, white glow and a blue glow to somewhat tinting to a darker red color for a second. Before, it does at least seem to even out. The guy goes over how his suit feels. Something did, well, change. However, he's guessing that testing this will just be it. Midori does actually somewhat walk away. Mei, yeah. She obviously doesn't like this. But, for right now, hopefully that's it. He needs to think on it more. It's a big choice. And, as they begin to walk through the area, Midoriya begins to rip apart demons that they encounter and fighting them, with the help of his allies. Now, with that being said, This is whenever, eventually they do come upon a room. And as they're walking by it, Bakugo, he actually does stop and turn to look at it. And looking through the door, he can see somebody. And this being where everyone else is trying to get his attention and telling him that they need to move and go now. However, Bakugo does not move from his spot. He still has that look on his face, and it's angry. That look on his face shows pure anger and rage. Now, this is whenever he just smashes through the door, and you do have what he interrupted. You do have Ochako, and, well, Kirishima. These two, they are currently having a little fun. They are messing around with some human souls that they have found, people that have been killed and came to hell. The people simply just trying to beg to be forgiven, or trying to simply just run off. However, these two, they're having too much fun, not allowing them to leave. As soon as Bakugo busted through the door, these two immediately looked at him. And not only were they surprised, both of them somewhat began to laugh. Of course, Bakugo Katsuki. This idiot came here alone. So, what can I do for you, Bakugo? Ah, yes. Hello, Bakugo. Here to join us? No, actually. You two have been the biggest thorn in my side. I myself want to know. Exactly why did you both do it? Oh, me, I sold it for power. It's divine. Every second I'm like this, I feel it. I've had years with this power, Bakugo, you don't understand. The strength, the feeling. It's exciting. However, the fact that you are here, it does pose a question. I'm guessing you know where Izuku is. Oh, I'm right here, asshole. This being where Midoriya does actually walk out from behind the corner. Kirishima seeing him, and being surprised himself. Ah, the Punisher. Hello. So, how are you enjoying your stay? I'm not. In fact, I'm not staying for very long. Bakugo, this was not part of the plan. I don't give a shit about your plan. These two, they've killed a lot of my friends over the years. Oh, Bakugo. Still pissy about your mother, I see. You had no right to do that. Oh, yes, I did. You loved her, so I killed her. Now, Midoriya hearing that Kirishima killed Mitsuki, yeah, he just informs Bakugo. In fact, how about they make an exception? I already planned on trying to get stronger, but you'll do. Now, with that being said, Bakugo, he turns on One for All. And, bringing his hand out to this piece in his arm, this is whenever, as soon as he does press down on it, a gauntlet begins to form around it, that has spikes on it. Bakugo quickly grabbing the other thing on his arm and putting it onto his other hand. Now, with that being said, he then begins to get ready, jumping up high into the air and leaping off, with 100%, going to actually try and battle it out with Kirishima. Meanwhile, Ochako, she's being a bit wary. The Doomslayer and the Ghost Rider, they must be around here somewhere. Oh, you don't have to worry about them. They're not here. Oh, that makes this so much easier. Ochako says, rushing towards Midoriya. As soon as he starts running towards her, she immediately just grabs him and flies him up towards the air, smashing him directly into a wall before Midoriya actually does try fighting back. As soon as he does throw out his arm, she immediately blocks it and shows off the strength difference entirely. Yes, Midoriya has had his abilities for longer, but they've had time to train theirs, be active, move, and fight. He has not. And Ochako begins to simply beat on Midoriya, throwing him around the area and beginning to punch and beat at him. And as they are doing that, she does pull back her arm this time and go to throw it forwards. This being where her arm gets caught by a whip, and as soon as she does turn around, the person in the suit brings up their left hand and blast. As soon as they do, this hits Ochako and sends her flying. Now, Midoriya asks if they'll be fine taking care of her. Yeah, you might want to go help Bakugo. And with that simple phrase being said, this is whenever the room shakes. Midoriya running back inside and seeing what's going on. Now, you do have Mei, who herself is trying to blast at Kirishima while he's in the air. Meanwhile, Bakugo, he's flying. Actually flying. And he's trying to swap hands with Kirishima. These two are going fist for fist, Kirishima using his hardening quirk and magic to strengthen his body, while Bakugo, he's just using one for all and holy gauntlets. These two going back and forth over and over and over again. And Midoriya, he's not too sure if he could fly, so he tries to do so, pulling out his wings and trying to take flight. Nothing happens. Just these things moving forwards and backwards over and over again. And Midoriya, he deals with that his own way. Just leaping up into the air. As soon as he leaps up, he directly grabs at Kirishima's leg. As soon as Kirishima does look down and see that, he goes to punch Midoriya. As soon as he takes his eyes off of Bakugo, Bakugo socks him across the face. And this is whenever he goes falling down. Midoriya getting his weight underneath him and pulling at Kirishima, smashing him down onto the ground. As soon as he does that, he goes to climb on top of him and beat him across the face. As soon as Kirishima throws Midoriya away, Bakugo comes in, stomping both of his feet downwards, as hard as he can. And Kirishima just sinks into the floor a bit, before Bakugo just begins to throw his fist over and over at Kirishima's face. Whenever Kirishima does actually try and grab one of Bakugo's arms and cut into it, Bakugo simply just begins to hit the spikes over and over again into his arm, and begin by doing one thing. With Kirishima's right arm, whenever he tried to claw at Bakugo's arm, he grabbed it and began to twist it, as hard as he could, with as much strength as he could. For 1 second, he goes to 1,000,000%, and is able to bend it more. Not able to snap it, but it hurts enough. Midoriya running over and slamming his hand down directly onto Kirishima's face. And Kirishima's eyes go wide with terror, understanding what's about to happen. Now, that is whenever Kirishima's soul gets pulled out. As soon as he does, his body returns to looking human. And Midoriya, he simply just does one thing. Looking at this purple orb. Now, this orb, he's staring at it for a second. He couldn't even take on Ochako, and he actually needed help to take on Kirishima. So, he got lucky and was able to do this. Fuck. Midoriya just thinking. Baku just watching as Midoriya puts the soul in his mouth and simply swallows it. Midoriya is just dropping onto his knees and feeling immense pain from this. Midoriya bringing his hands up to his stomach and simply just trying to process it. Now, while that's going on, Bakugo runs out of the room to try and deal with Ochako. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, well, he does have Mei. Mei saw what he did, and she actually does ask him if he is alright. I think so. Jeez, it's like eating a fireball. Well, you shouldn't have eaten it. Hey, I'm so weak right now, I couldn't even take on Ochako, much less Kirishima. Both of them are out of my league. So, what do you want? I wanted you to know that I still don't think this is right. I'm trying to come to terms with it, but it's not easy. Yeah, I know. But, hey, I need to make sure I can protect people. The Punisher, he looks bad, right? But he isn't bad. Yeah, well, hey. The Punisher, right now, looks like well, he just ate too much food. Really? Because I'm still having trouble digesting this thing. Listen, I understand that this is what you need to do, but just because of that, I will not support it. Trust me, May. The only other option is, well, the Guardian Angel, her giving up her life and bonding permanently with me. What? Yeah, we're not doing that. This is the only alternative, other than simply just waiting and getting stronger. The longer we wait, the more they will have time to move, mobilize, and exterminate us. Then move on to the next world. Damn it. Okay. Fuck. That's not supposed to happen. Well, from what I've seen, it is. Now, Midoriya actually does stand up onto his feet. And he does look down at his hands. He does feel a lot better. In fact, he was a bit lucky. He just got something special. A mixed soul. Now, he actually does try going back to see how things are going with Ochako. And they were able to take her down and actually somewhat restrain her. Ibarra has her captured in this lasso-like weapon, and Ochako is trying to get out and escape. However, her wings are also bound, so she can't even fly. Now, they do begin to tell her that she's not escaping. You really don't understand this, do you? This is different. How is it different? Because it's simple. You don't get to decide what to do. Between good and evil, it's never existed. Now, she begins to just go off on them, saying different things, and talking in weird sounds, or at least what they believe to be demonic language. Now, with that happening, Midoriya does actually walk over, and as soon as Ochako sees him, she begins to scream and berate him, telling him that he can't have done that. He can't have done that. And Midoriya just brings his hand up and covers her mouth and rips out her soul. However, this time, things are a bit different and odd. Instead of one purple soul, there's two, a blue one and a red one. That does not make any sense. Now, not blue and red. Jesus, I'm thinking of Halo. There is a red soul, and then there is a pure white soul. And this actually does surprise Midoriya. Now, the red soul does actually try and go towards the white one, while the white one does actually try and move away, or get away. Midoriya quickly just taking the red one and bringing it up to his mouth, while the white one, he just tries putting it back in. This soul is innocent, right? So it might be, they're not really too sure. Whenever Midoriya does that, not only does color go back into the eyes, but this, well, demonic looking form fades away, and Ochako seems to have passed out. Now, they're not too certain as to who this is. For all they can know, it could just be some random soul they put in with this demon soul. Now, with that being said, they actually do decide to leave. They've already blown their chance, and a lot of demons are probably going to be swarming this area pretty soon. They can try again later. Now, they actually do leave, and Bakugo, he's left there to stare at Ochako's body, more or less. Whenever he actually does bend down and see if there's a pulse, it's surprising. There actually is. So he throws her over his shoulder, and they begin to run. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.